Hi, friends. You have shown up for another episode of Crazy as Usual with Donna, and today, Becky Clabaugh, who's a money mindset coach. This is a real treat. I don't think there's anyone I know in the world who hasn't had some kind of monkeys around money. Becky Clabaugh is a CEO of Becky Clabaugh Coaching, a heart-centered, straightforward life coach specializing in money mindset and financial behavior change for service-based professionals, including people like me. With over 30 years of experience in personal development, she delivers powerful transformational breakthroughs to help her clients heal the old money wounds, resulting in higher profits to grow and scale your business. She's on a mission to help women rise above those sneaky subconscious sabotage messages that mess with their happiness, their success, and their money. Becky is the founder of the 6-Figure Focus Group, a free online speed networking event created to break through the subconscious hidden agendas while building strong referral networks and powerful partnerships. I have been a beneficiary of that 6-Figure Focus Group. I've gotten new clients from that. So thank you for what you do, Becky. Tell me
Oh,
a little bit about what got you into this money mindset business anyway. I suspect there are some monkeys involved.
for sure. Yeah, I call them bugaboos. Yeah, they're
Mhm.
the subconscious thoughts and behaviors that we create in our mind in order to avoid a negative feeling about money. And I suppose that mine started when I was a little Girl Scout, and I think maybe, I don't know, second or third grade. And we had this this big goal to get out there and sell cookies. And I was in that process, I think around that age where you're learning addition and subtraction in your head and you're learning how
Yeah.
to change back. And I just, I liked to go to school because I like to see my friends. So
Imagine that.
yeah, I missed out on the concept. And so, anyway, I remember counting change back, practicing with my dad, and he got irritated with me. So, that's when I created a story. And so, as a little person and well intending parents, I created a story about money that I sucked at math and
Mm.
money was scary. And so, with this, there's kind of like a goal trauma with it too, is what I like to call it. I work with my clients because we all have them. With the Girl Scouts, we had this big goal, and everybody sat out knocking on the doors in our neighborhood, and I got strep throat. So
Oh,
everybody got out there, they sold their cookies, they hit their big goals, and at the end of the year, everybody got a patch but me.
oh.
So it solidified. There was evidence in my little bitty brain. See, told you I suck at math and I'm not good at money. And so it's interesting. That's kind of where the little monkeys started to get bigger and louder as
Yeah.
I became an adult.
Wow. So make the rest of us feel good about our own monkeys and bugaboos. I think they're probably friends. I think of the monkeys that pick the bugs off of each other.
Yes.
Uh, and tell us when you reached a point in your life that you decided that you're going to change your mindset, and then
Yeah.
what led you into this business.
Well, thank you. It's a fun story because we all have those too that we get a switch in our brain when something happens. Honestly, it happened during the pandemic. I
Oh,
married into a paradigm. My husband is an engineer. I was a stay-at-home mom. I was teaching uh, situational awareness. I'm a first-degree black belt in Taekwondo, and so as part of our dojang, I was the director for non-martial art related self-defense for women, like
okay.
lot drills and things like that.
Nice.
And being, my degree is in human services. I was a drug and alcohol addiction counselor, and then I switched my minor to holistic health and wellness education. So that's where the 30 years of being a personal development advocate came
Yeah.
from. And so with COVID, I saw a visceral response when people were trying to shift and adjust what was happening. So I took my little stimulus check and I decided I'm going to register my LLC. It'll be 4 years on April 13th that I did that.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and so
Congratulations.
thank you. Well, and I did get certified to be a life coach in 2019, and I was using that with the Taekwondo and the classes I was teaching. And I would watch women, their body would shift when I would do general life coaching in 2020 online when we would talk about money. it was fascinating to me because it was very specific. So it would be
Yeah.
either about their income or their income goals. And they didn't really like talking about that so much because they probably had a little, I call it goal trauma, like my little Girl Scout story, that
Yeah.
goals is like, I don't like to set goals. I don't know how to reach them. It never works. There's also a possibility that there was something going on with not being able to save money. Like it's a big dark cloud that every time I try to save, something happens. So I just noticed that I got very curious about it. And as a habit, excuse me, a habit change expert, I could see that actually I was able to shift that with $1,000 stimulus check. And I was able to 100x that thing in a short amount of time because I just shift how I was thinking and feeling about money, that it's not true. I don't suck at math because I know how to use a calculator and I know how to use a spreadsheet. And I was able to shift that. But the thing that really happened is I was able to work with my nervous system. I found a woman who trained me to use emotional freedom technique. It's a tapping technique that we go into a very specific process where people get triggered about their money. And so that's where the bugaboos showed up. I realized that there was women who were under earning or over investing. They would spend money in order to feel better. A lot of times we do
Mhm.
that with food or alcohol. It's just a
Yep.
behavior, it's a habit.
Yeah.
And so that's where this was all born. It was very organic. And I've always used networking as a way to connect with people in a very high vibrational way to share our gifts and talents, because money can be all about love and abundance and transformation. The
Yeah.
body is the healer.
That's really true. So true. It's amazing how these things that happen to us in our childhood stick with us. And it, I'm wondering, did you have a sense all along that that residual sense that you weren't good with money ever since the Girl Scout incident, or was there a moment in your adulthood when you said, when did this start?
Yeah. Well, I think personal development is all about awareness, of course, and that I think that there was a victim mentality to that. Like it's my parents' fault somehow that I wasn't good with math or money. And so
Mm,
I came into a place of it's a personal development journey of maturity that
yeah,
actually, my parents were doing the best they knew how. They were very
yeah,
well intending. My parents built a country club lifestyle with 2 high school diplomas. My dad sold corrugated packaging, so he sold empty boxes, and my mom sold empty houses in the 80s. And so they made a lot of money just because of the season that they launched their careers,
yeah,
and we talked about it. So I suppose that, I talk about it with my mom all the time now, and she was able to really understand compounding and investing. And it's pretty fascinating.
yeah.
I think that it came to a place where I wanted to learn more. So that was my fiscal responsibility. And I also wanted to know about how to make money work so that it's flowing and it's fun, and sharing my gifts and talents with other women in order for them to do the same. And I think that that really lights me up.
Oh, that's great. Well, I know that you've helped a lot of women to shift their mindset, and you're such a positive force in that. How does a gal recognize that she's at risk,
Yeah.
um, or recognize the signs of self-sabotage?
That's such a good question. I think the more that we really come into that place of what feels really true for us, from
Yeah,
that place of, how it feels in your body. For example, I have worked with clients and we don't even look at a spreadsheet or a P&L or anything until we can really calm down the amygdala. Tapping really does do a lot of the heavy lifting. And using breath work in that place, is a mind, body, money connection. So here's a clue for you. If you're looking at a spreadsheet and you're feeling like you're not breathing fully, or you're getting angry. I used to get angry. Chris and I would have money talks and I'd get mad at him. He'd be like,
yeah,
why are you getting mad? But I was literally in a subconscious fight or flight stress response. So if you're
yeah,
having a visceral reaction, that's a clue that your body's giving you feedback, because that's what emotions do for us, negative
yeah.
emotions and positive emotions.
That's really good. So you spot it, and that's when you implement the tapping to slow down the amygdala,
You
get
can.
off the edge of the precipice.
Yeah, and what I do is very specific. It's custom. So we do go through the early childhood paradigm and those stories that really no longer serve us anymore. And we bless and release our parents' paradigm, and then you create your own, which is so fun because then you get to create a whole new identity from the inside out. It's not about getting a haircut or new makeup, it's really about that internal knowing, the internal validation, what you're doing and how you're serving, especially as a service-based provider, a coach, a consultant, and you're able to really articulate what your packages are all about and feel amazing about it. Now, sometimes people can have a sneaky sabotage that they'll really start to get some traction. Even when they work with me, things are clicking along, and then they get an emotional backlash.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's what I know as triggers, things that um, somebody might mean innocuously, but it's a word that makes us reminiscent of something that happened in the past. This came up the other day in conversation. Somebody said that one way of showing appreciative inquiry is to ask, "Help me understand." And I had to speak up and say, you know what? I had somebody in my past who misused that. Help
Mm-hmm.
me understand was kind of like this sarcastic jab, but try again because you're not speaking plainly enough. And so it started to trigger me. And I'm like, I've got to unlearn that because I think people mean it in the most positive way. And
Mm.
there are these little triggers that come up from our past. So would you use the tapping too every time you have that body response?
Definitely. And you can also just use simple breath work. Just getting in your body, even taking like that. Well, I just did, it was a heavy sigh, leaving that space for my brain to be curious. I think we're so critical. I like to use, the vernacular of trigger is just, I like to use the word feedback because triggers, especially if you have some kind of wounding or a trauma, that's a big T trauma, doesn't feel so great. So when you can come into a place when you get grounded in your body, take a big deep breath, and you're present with yourself. Yep, I'm safe. I'm secure. Exactly. How that feel right now? Just because we do breathe a lot of times, just very shallow and in our chest. Tell me what
Exactly.
you're thinking. Yeah. What's your thought?
You know, I have a friend who said that she went to a breathing therapist because she realized that she had been shallow breathing her whole life. She spent a lot of money to learn how to breathe again. And I said, well, why don't you tell me what you learned so I don't have to go spend $12,000 to learn how to breathe again? And but it's amazing just becoming more aware. And I can tell that you're a very self-aware person like I am. And this is why I'm asking, how can people spot themselves at risk if they're not in the habit of being aware, if they
Mm.
don't even know that they're shallow breathing?
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't even realize it until somebody takes us through a breathing exercise. And then we realize, oh my gosh, I don't think I've been breathing for like the past 10 years.
That's true. And it's interesting. That's where COVID came in again with a respiratory uh threat. I do have a circumstance that I manage that is related to my respiratory system. And so I really wanted to make sure that I was safe. And the first place that I started was my emotional safety. I went through the University of Colorado and went out to volunteer for emotional CPR. And so I did go through that program to be able to serve in my community when I got out of myself, because I was very afraid that I was going to die from COVID
Yeah,
because I didn't know what the heck it was in the beginning. So when I chucked, my LLC out there and just was like, I'm going to get out and serve because, that's how I roll. It definitely helped me get into that way. I definitely have not arrived, but I've left. That's for sure.
I love it. I'm in the same Bible study that you're in, the healing journey. And
Good.
we talked about leaving Egypt.
Yep.
And I don't want to go into too much detail. Hopefully, people have a little bit of background in the whole like Israel being enslaved in Egypt, and in some cases, really choosing their slavery, even without knowing it.
Mhm.
And when my leader asked if I'm ready to leave Egypt, I said, "Oh, I was ready 2 weeks ago."
Yeah.
I'm so done with living there. And I can imagine that the healing that you went through that enabled you to even start your business and multiply that investment so quickly had a lot to do with being in that healthy place. Um, there's a meditation that I do occasionally, and he says, what you can hold in your mind, you can hold in your hand.
For real.
And what's interesting is if we're not self-aware, if we're not taking the time to slow down our breath, to really focus, to really open up our thinking, it's too easy to just only see the blooper reel in our minds.
Yeah.
And we can manifest that as well.
Yes, and it goes back to one of the things that you asked, what are the blind spots or something along those lines where we can be, oh, as entrepreneurs in particular, be aware is when you're feeling overwhelmed, it's a very common feeling that comes up. It's like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't know how I'm going to get this revenue and I don't know how I'm going to hit those goals. And we come into that place of the awareness again, that's that the feedback. And so allowing that to come into the place of just compassion and that overwhelm, it could be something helpful, but it's like, oh, using it as a pattern interrupter from the perspective of how would I like to think about this? You know, it really does start with what you believe.
Right.
Within the healing journey and without. I mean, it's more of a cognitive behavioral thought process is that you can really question, what do you really believe? Do I believe that I can 100x this stimulus check? It's possible. Lots of people do it. Yeah, I believe I can do that. And then you think about it in a different way that brings up the inspired action or procrastination. And then
Right.
what I like to do is from the end result is having that feeling be in your core, where that's where you're in the flow. A lot of us we live our life with the feelings and the subconscious thoughts that are going on. We don't even know what we're thinking, like driving a car on autopilot.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. Well, the whole idea between I can't get my words out. The whole idea behind this intention and the way that we breathe, the way that we think, uh, just opens up a whole new category of possibility for people to um, envision something bigger than what they currently have.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was thinking about our lease is coming up in a few months, and there was a little bit of like a monkey in the back of my mind saying, "What if they don't renew the lease? What if we need to find another place to live?" And I went, what if we get to find another place to live? What if we find a fantastic place to live? And I started imagining what that might look like. As much as I love this house, and you've seen how much I love this house,
Yeah.
I can, I can worry about losing what I have, or I can imagine what that next place might look like. And, um, I think it would be really valuable, especially since this is something that people might be listening to on their way to work or on their way to a meeting where they have to manage that amygdala. Would you be willing to do a short demonstration of the tapping process?
Sure, we could do that. And another thought too, I want to bring up for you when you're in that place where you're feeling like, yep, I'm in a fight or flight stress response. A lot of the things that come up is that we have this emotion of worry. And what comes up for you when I say that about worry, Donna? Like, just we'll use you as an example. We can use that with some tapping we can even do right now if you'd like.
Always game to be a guinea pig. Um, Worry brings up a heaviness in my heart, um, tightness in my throat, a sense that the budget's not going to balance this month. And how am I going to pay for that? Um, how's that for starters?
For real. And then what I'll do here with this tapping, and then on a scale of 1 to 10, we use a subjective scale. On a
Mhm.
scale of 1 to 10, 10 would be, ooh, I'm pretty stressed out about that, all the way down to a 0 or 1, or I'm neutral. Where can you measure right now? Where are you feeling about just that worry?
Probably 7.
Yeah. And then can you feel where that is in your body anywhere?
Yeah, I think I feel it in my throat.
Yeah. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, that's good. Okay, so just go ahead and take a big deep breath and get in your body. And this is monkey see, monkey do. And what we're going to do is we'll just start tapping on the side of your hand. It's called the karate chop point, and that's where we'll make a statement here is that we're going to create the opportunity for that worry to come into a perspective wonder. How does that feel to turn worry into wonder?
I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Do
All
I
right.
have the karate chop right?
Yep. You're going to just on the side of your hand, like right where your pinky is. And there's a
Uh-huh.
little spot right here. So you're just going to breathe in.
Okay, tap it like that. Okay.
Okay. Even though I don't feel safe and secure right now, you can just repeat after me.
Even though I don't feel safe and secure right now,
Yeah. I'm just curious what I'm thinking and feeling.
I'm curious what I'm thinking and feeling.
I love myself and I accept how I feel.
I love myself and I accept how I feel.
And even though I'm feeling worried right now,
And even though I'm feeling worried right now,
I'm just feeling it in my body.
I'm feeling it in my body.
And I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
And even though I'm feeling worried,
Even though I'm feeling worried,
I accept how I'm feeling.
I accept how I'm feeling.
I deeply and completely love myself.
I deeply and completely love myself.
Yeah. And you can go ahead and start tapping on your eyebrow here, just at that point, right where your eyebrows start. So I am feeling worried.
I'm feeling worried.
Yeah, on the side of your eye. There's a lot going on right now.
There is a lot going on right now.
And on the under your eye. And I don't have time to focus on just one thing.
I don't have time to focus on just one thing.
Yeah, and under your nose. So instead, I just worry.
So instead, I just worry.
Yeah, and I really can't focus on one thing right now.
And I really can't focus on one thing right now.
And then you're going to tap on your collar right underneath the bone, not on the bone. There's so much going on right now.
There's so much going on right now.
And then under your arm, right where your bra strap is. And when things feel worrisome,
And when things feel worrisome,
then it'll be easier to focus when it calms down.
then it'll be easier to focus when things calm down.
Yeah, on the top of your head. So I can't get focused right now.
I can't get focused right now.
Yeah. And your eyebrow. It's so hard to focus when I feel this worried.
It's so hard to focus when I feel this worried.
Yeah, on the side of your eye. And maybe that's okay.
And maybe that's okay.
Yeah, under your eye. Maybe I can give myself a little break.
Maybe I can give myself a little break.
Yeah, under your nose to turn that worry into wonder.
To turn that worry into wonder.
Yeah, under your mouth there. So if I let go of this worry,
So if I let go of this worry,
on your collar, I can release this need to know everything and do everything.
I can release this need to know everything and do everything.
And under your arm. And it's okay if there's a lot going on.
It's okay if there's a lot going on.
Yeah, on top of your head, because I don't have to handle it all right now.
So I don't have to handle it all right now.
Yeah, and on your eyebrow, I can start by letting myself release the feeling of worry.
I can start by letting myself release the feeling of worry.
And so your I can release this little monkey of worry in my mind.
I'm releasing this little monkey of worry in my mind.
Under your eye, and release it from every cell in my body.
I'm releasing it from every cell in my body.
And under your nose, I can let it all go.
I can let it all go.
And under your mouth, and I can start getting focused.
And I can start getting focused.
On your collar, focusing on one thing at a time.
Focusing on one thing at a time.
Yeah, and under your arm, knowing that I can get everything done.
Knowing I can get everything done.
Top of your head, focusing in my mind and my body and my spirit.
Focusing in my mind, in my body, and in my spirit.
And feeling focused now.
Feeling focused now.
Okay, go ahead and check in with your body. Just take a big deep breath and then just noticing on that subjective scale where we started. If you can give it a number, where would you be now?
I'd say more like a 3.
Nice. Is it anything left over?
Maybe like what to focus on next.
There you go. Like you're an intellect, and that makes perfect sense to me. Now you want to know what the next step is and what the checkbox is. I love
It is one of my
it.
top five.
Yeah, you're a smarty pants. And I love that so much. And that we can kiss your brain, mwah, that it's giving you information for that. And it comes from a place is that you absolutely do know, and that we can come from the place of compassion and empathy and curiosity and wonder. Your brain's going to give you the answers to your obstacles. It's really smart, and it's done it so many times before. We don't have to use the evidence from the past, but we can use the gifts and talents that you do have, that you are you're a systems strategist. You put things in order. You have CRMs, you got systems, you put things in place. And so you can create something like that that really lights you up in a really high vibrational way, so that
Yeah,
you can also get out there and help other people do the same thing, because you are sharing your gift, which in turn
right,
shares their gift like a pebble in a pond.
right, right. It's really good that you notice that focusing on that thing that lights me up.
Yes.
Not one possible way that I might make money, but what is the one that lights me up the
Yeah.
most? And that's where I spend the time.
I love that. When you look at that on the vibrational scale, there is a scale that can show the kind of vibration when we're worried and we're judging and we're comparing and we're jealous and all the things. It's a lower vibration, but we come into a place where we feel optimistic and we get into like our birthright and the gifts and talents that only we have, just like a thumbprint. When you think about those things, Donna, how can you help other people with their silly little monkeys in their businesses? I'm pretty confident you can come up with 10 ways right now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Yes.
And it's fun to do it when you know what you're doing and
Yes.
you
Can this be fun?
oh, absolutely. I love that. It lights me up. I love having these conversations. I no matter what I do, I mean, there's nothing where podcasts overlap with database development, really, except for the fact that I just love to elevate other people who have all these great ideas.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Yes, Donna. Yay. That makes me so happy. Then now we can have those conversations. And I can also continue to refer you to other people because I know exactly what you do and what really lights you up. And that's why we do the speed networking, and we help people
yeah,
come down from the fight or flight stress response with that hidden sneaky agenda, which is
right.
coming in here. We don't go into the 6-figure focus group with commission breath. We go in there with service and help, and who do you need to meet?
Yeah, exactly. I felt that last night when I went to a networking event and I felt a little bit drained walking in there.
Oh,
And I said, you know what? I am just here to be of service. I'm here to make somebody brighten up
yes.
and feel better about themselves. It's really easy to do. And I've heard that people think that you're smarter if you ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And another secret is that when you just really listen, when you really take time to listen to people, I mean, we want to be heard. We all have wounds. We all have sneaky little things in the back of our brain that make
Yeah.
us believe, our brain at 80% of the time, we're believing trashy thoughts than we are the other. That is our birthright, honestly.
hmm I love that you keep mentioning our birthright because
It
we
is.
really, I'm an orphan and I'm not saying that to over-identify with it, but to state what's true and the residual psychological impact of being abandoned. And the key to living that bright, full sunshine
Yep.
life
Mhm.
is knowing, you know what, I wasn't abandoned because of anything I did. And my parents were doing the best they knew how. And you know what? I've had a lot of people in my life who love me greatly.
Yep.
So I don't need to worry about that origin story. It's not a part of who I am anymore. I actually am an heir to a fortune, and I'm not going to waste any more time not using it, not using that power and that right.
I love
So
that so much. That is the absolute truth. And that you have such a gift of connecting people. You're the most connected person I know. And I think that if I said, who else do you know that I need to meet that I could be on their podcast? Because what I do is very unique and original, and a different way of thinking about money and your nervous system. I hope and pray that you could give me a referral for that. I'd love it.
Absolutely. I'll take a look at my podcast list and think of the ones who have podcasts to refer you
Yes,
to.
that,
Absolutely. What
yeah.
else do you want to leave our listeners with? Last thoughts.
I think with that was honestly to be able to have a conversation where you feel safe, that we modeled that, Donna, really nicely, is to be able to ask for what you need and be able to ask for who can I help, that without any abandon or embarrassment or shame or negative feelings about it, knowing what you really need and want so that you can get out there and help more people too. And I think that that's the best thing, is that when you're connected to your mind and your body, that there is a connection, and the body is the healer. You know what you just said about your thoughts and feelings about your childhood circumstance. So I do think that when you find community, that is the best way to do a lot of healing as well.
That's really smart. I'm a big fan of building community. So thanks for that plug. I will also plug in the show notes your six-figure focus group, get people involved in that.
That'd be great.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Becky, for your time. Um, I know this is going to change the life of many, many people.
Oh, well, thank
And
you for having me, Donna. You're a sweetheart.
you are welcome. So, friends, you've been listening to the Crazy as Usual podcast with Donna Carlson and Becky Clabaugh. You can find the details on my LinkedIn newsletter, and I will also share this on Instagram with a link to the podcast. So, check out at Crazy as Usual on Instagram and check out Crazy as Usual with Donna on LinkedIn, and we'll get you all set up with how to connect with Becky. I'll be back next time.